see at the Maritime Safety Committee that Philippines is back on the whitelist. So the next one is going to be in 5 years' time. So you've got to keep at it. I did go and visit many of the universities. I was very impressed with the quality. There were a lot of good practices that I learned from a variety of colleges that we looked at. This morning, our keynote speaker, he talked about the future. He said the future is already here. And he's right. The future, as we saw earlier today, is already here for us to see. Whether we would ever see it in full, I'm not quite sure. Right. So the new fuels and autonomous shipping that I was going to cover was already mentioned before lunch. I will just make a few points about either of those, and then I will go to the SCCW review and revision. The new fuels, I'm actually working with IMO. For those of you who don't know, Nautical Institute does have a curriculum. We have started rolling out the program, and I think there is one coming up soon. Those who are interested can register and attend that particular program, which is for seafarers. It is really dealing with safety of handling these new fuels. And the three fuels that we are looking at within the IMO programs are ammonia, methanol, and hydrogen. Ammonia and methanol are already here. You saw this morning from orders which are going to shipyard. Hydrogen perhaps a little bit further away. To me, they're all at experimental stage. For the next 20, 25 years, we're going to be seeing ships burning LNG and other types of fuel. And if you think about the global fleet, only the conventional ships are about 100,000. 100,000 ships to be retrofitted is probably going to take decades. So we're not really looking at all of these happening overnight. And additionally, when you look at the fuels like methanol, ammonia, we need to have production facilities. We need to have storage facilities to be able to provide this. Otherwise, the ship owners are not going to risk. If they can only go from Tokyo to Singapore, they're not going to risk, so they're not going to invest. So they'll be looking at that huge investment to go in there. In terms of autonomous shipping, people sitting at the back and people wearing uniform, please don't worry that your jobs are at risk. It is not going to happen in our lifetimes, in your lifetimes. The number of fleet is increasing, both in terms of number of ships and the tonnage. So we're going to need to have a lot more seafarers than we are actually training. So don't worry. The type of skills that you're going to get would be slightly different. The SDCW, I'm going to cover that in a minute, it is a little bit outdated, and we're going to put in the new skills. Some of it which we haven't covered before, and we're going to take out some of the provision which is already there, which is outdated. So, at the moment, where are we? The conversation about the review and revision of the convention and the code started probably about 2019, 2020. And then we had the pandemic, so everything came to a halt, nothing happened during that 2 years, and then we started again. So we spent about 18 months looking at the content of the convention and the code as it is. We are halfway through reviewing the code and the convention. We haven't actually changed anything this year. We have just identified those areas which need changing. And this is what our president said earlier today, that we need your input. There is a very small group of us working at the Nautical Institute that we will take these things to the IMO as an NGO, but we can't really go as a member for people saying that this is the view of our membership. So we need a lot of input from you about these areas which have been identified. So when the review is finished, then actually start rewriting the convention and the code. And at the moment, they say everything is on the table, including the articles of the convention. They are looking to see whether they need to be revised or not. The past 18 months, 22, 23 areas have been identified. I haven't put any meat under any of these, because most of these relate to new technologies which have come in, both in terms of ship operations as well as education and training. So all of those are going to be taken into account when we start rewriting the convention and the code. A whole areas here, and there is emphasis in harassment, including slash, which would be included in the convention. The members feel very strongly about this, so it would be put in there. And there are other areas, mental health, which was mentioned this morning when we had the panel, and inconsistencies within the convention and the code. And it goes on until you will see, so the whole range of areas are going to be covered under the review. Where we are is that member states and NGOs have been invited to submit to the IMO, and the way it works is HDW, which is the subcommittee of Maritime Safety Committee, looks at these papers. This is where it is all papers trust, and the process we go through, it goes through HDW. They provide the report to the Maritime Safety Committee. Maritime Safety Committee, sometimes for information, sometimes to get permission by approval. They send it to the council, and then, so this is a program for the current year, and we are having an intersessional meeting, so it is a meeting of the subcommittee meeting in October to look at all the submissions, and then that would go, the report of that will go to the following year. So next year the program is already there in place. And the way, so you will see this is the program you're going to go through every year, this year, next year, and 2026. And the feeling is that by October, November 2027, the new convention, the code will be ready and approved. And then there is a transitional period of 4 or 5 years before it becomes mandatory. And that 4 or 5 years is really to give member states enough time to do all the things they need to do, including changes to legislation, updating the curriculum. So we are really looking at 2027. What does it mean for the Philippines? We do have a program which is common for all the universities. So that needs to be updated because of the changes to the convention. The Marina, I don't think we've got anybody from Marina. I was going to say Alga Marina because of the white list, but they're not here. So they need to update their systems to make sure that it's kept up to date and up to the date that we are talking. So the reason that IMO goes through these processes is that they are very keen to have all of the rules, regulations, conventions, codes current, up to date, and fit for purpose. And they do that with all of the conventions and codes that they have. So with SCCW, we started in 1978, went through a major revision in 1995, and the last one was 2010. It was not very far from here, actually. The building where it happened, it was not very, and then it was called the Manila Amendments. We don't really know the next meeting, the next conference, whether it's going to be a diplomatic conference or whether it's going to be a meeting of the member state to decide. That has not been decided. The format of that has not been decided. Whether it's going to be in London at IMO headquarters or somebody else is going to put their hand up to host it, we don't know. So what is important here for me and for the small group who are working is, if you're interested in the work that we do, in the review and revision of the convention, please write to me or John or David Patrico in the headquarters, and we will include you on the list of people who are actively involved. And if you happen to be in London, we will take you with us to the IMO. meeting. And the rest of you, as I said, if you're not a member of the Political Institute, you better get on with it and join quickly. It only takes about 10 minutes. The forms are all online, and you will get a lot of value for the money that you pay for your members. It is a good institution to be part of. And please provide feedback. Please provide input to that process. I really don't want to go with only with my views to say, well, no, we need to increase seat time, or we need to pay less more money or less money. So those things are things that must come from you, and we will take those with us, either to the industry, to ICS and ITF, and have an argument, a discussion with them, or we'll take it to the INO if it needs to be regulated. So with that, Chairman, I will stop, and I'm sorry I'm over 10 minutes. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. If there was any questions, I don't know when he's going to allow me to answer, but
No.
That's easy, isn't it? Malik, thank you.
You were just inside. You were slightly over 10 minutes. I was going to allow you 15 because I'm like that. Because I'm nice.